Paris, mid-July 1789. The city is tense and uneasy. For months people have faced soaring bread prices, financial ruin, and rigid inequality. The king's ministers have failed to reform the tax system. In early July, King Louis XVI dismissed Minister Jacques Necker, widely popular among reformers. Parisians interpreted this as a signal of impending repression. Rumors spread that foreign troops were massing near Versailles to crush the National Assembly. Public anger boiled over into the streets of the capital. At the Palais Royal, the journalist Camille Desmoulins leapt onto a table, pistol in hand, declaring that patriots must arm themselves before they were massacred. A crowd marched to the Hôtel des Invalides where they seized muskets. But there was no gunpowder. The insurgents turned their attention to the Bastille, a medieval fortress at the center of Paris, famed more for its symbolic tyranny than for its actual prison population. By July 14th, it held only 7 inmates, but its representation of monarchic absolutism made it irresistible as a target. By late morning, a crowd of a few hundred, mostly artisans, shopkeepers, and sans-culottes, gathered outside the Bastille's gates, demanding the surrender of the garrison, access to gunpowder, and the release of arms. Notable local figures such as Pierre Hulin, backed by a small artillery train, joined the effort. Some French guards defected to the side of the crowd, tipping the balance in their favor. Negotiations dragged on until early afternoon. Frustrated and impatient, the crowd forced their way into the outer courtyard, and then into the inner fortress. A thunder of gunfire erupted. The garrison, commanded by Governor Bernard-René Jourdan de Launay, returned fire. Over roughly 4 hours, nearly 100 insurgents died. Only one defender was killed during the fighting, though more died soon after surrender. Around 105 defenders were captured. By 5 p.m. Governor de Launay ordered a ceasefire and surrendered. But as he was led toward the Hôtel de Ville, the mob seized him, brutally killed him, and paraded his severed head through Paris. Several other officers were murdered by the crowd. The prisoners were freed, the arms and gunpowder seized, and the Bastille firmly in insurgent hands by about 5:30 p.m. The immediate political impact was swift. At Versailles the next day, deputies learned of the fall of the Bastille. King Louis and his military commanders withdrew troops around Paris. The Marquis de Lafayette was appointed commander of the newly formed National Guard in Paris. Jean-Sylvain Bailly became mayor of the city. Louis XVI accepted the blue-red cockade in Paris, an early symbol of French unity, and returned to the capital. In exile, nobles fled France in droves. A revolutionary cascade followed across the countryside, known as the Great Fear, where peasant uprisings and burning of chateaux spread rapidly. Though only 7 prisoners were inside the Bastille, and freeing them was not the day's real aim, its fall became the defining symbol of royal authority broken. It showed that ordinary citizens, urban working people, could challenge the monarchy. From that moment, the revolution could claim a popular mandate, and the idea of representative government gained broader traction. 2 days later, on July 16th, the British ambassador reported that France was a free country, the king a very limited monarch, and the nobility reduced in power. Within weeks, feudal privileges were abolished at Versailles on August 4th. The storming of the Bastille had lit a fuse, inaugurating a national revolution. In the months that followed, the Bastille was demolished stone by stone. Its remains were distributed across the country as relics of liberty. In 1790, Lafayette sent the symbolic key of the Bastille to George Washington, who displayed it in America. The site of the fortress eventually became the Place de la Bastille, a public square commemorating that defining moment. As part 1 of our chronologically structured 5-part series, this event stands as the ignition point, the moment when the people of Paris took the first decisive and symbolic action against royal authority. In the next installment, we will follow the unfolding of the National Assembly, the Great Fear, and how reform and radicalization took root across France. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Stay tuned for the next episode. Until next time.